Thank you for being with us on Parliament Television. My name is Tazi Piri on live commentary, where we're coming live to you on the Mental Health Awareness Outreach Launch here at the National Assembly of Zambia. And this launch is being done in collaboration with Silver Lining Healthcare Limited under the theme 10 Awareness into Action.
Unity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to praise thee, praise thee, praise thee. Let's up with Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Remember stand under the flag of our land, Zambia. Praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Shall we have a prayer by the Deputy Director, Mrs. Mutinta Mfalali?
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the privilege of being able to be here today. We want to thank you for the gathering that is here. And we want to thank you for the presenters that you've given to us who are going to share knowledge with us on mental health, which, Lord, we pray is going to help us to be more productive in all areas of our lives. Father, we ask that your presence be here with us and guide this gathering and all the discussions that we're going to have here today. In your mighty name we pray with a lot of thanksgiving in our heart. Amen.
Amen. Shall we take our seats? Good afternoon, colleagues. We can do better. Good afternoon, colleagues. That's much better. I'm being reminded, colleagues, can we move closer just to fill up the gap that is here? Colleagues, can we move closer? Protocol officers, may you move the staff that are behind and encourage them to come forward.
Good afternoon once again. So we are coming live from Parliament Buildings, where we are having the Mental Health Awareness Outreach Launch, which is being done in collaboration with Silver Lining Healthcare Limited under the theme 10 Awareness into Action. This initiative actually aligns with the global health efforts to promote mental health awareness, reduce stigma, and encourage open conversations about mental health. And beyond this launch, Silver Lining Healthcare Limited will be providing psychosocial counseling services from the Parliament Clinic for staff of the National Assembly of Zambia, and that will run from 3rd June to 6th June. And so we just await for the official launch of
I've been given the
mental health
powers
awareness
that
outreach.
You are now directed, the last 4 lines, to come and sit in the front row seats. Thank you.
And so Silver Lining Healthcare will be providing some free psychosocial counseling services beyond the launch of the mental health awareness. Remember, we are coming from the month of May, which is a mental health awareness month. So this June, as the National Assembly of Zambia, we are taking up this launch, and so we do expect some speeches to be delivered by the Deputy Clerk, Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Cecilia Mambo, and thereafter we also expect Dr. Paul Ravi from Silver Lining Healthcare Limited
We are
to
still
also
avoiding the
deliver a
second row.
speech. We also expect some presentations to be done by some experts from Silver Lining
To start the
Healthcare
program,
Limited.
I'd like to acknowledge the following. The Deputy Clerk Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Cecilia Skatele Mambwe, Dr. Paul Ravi, Consultant Neurologist, and staff from Silver Lining Healthcare, staff from the National Assembly, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to this occasion of the launch on mental health awareness outreach here at the National Assembly under the theme 10 Awareness into Action. Before we begin, I'd like to thank management for allowing this program. Mental health awareness is a very important aspect, and it's very important for us here at National Assembly as we usually and often work long hours. So I'd like to commend management for allowing us to participate in this important program. At this point, I would like to call upon Mr. Sambo, the Director, Administration, Human Resource Management and Development, to come and give his welcoming remarks. Mr. Sambo, sir. The microphone is far.
Good afternoon. For the camera. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was wondering why people were scared to move closer. Maybe we should ask Dr. Ravi. Okay. The Deputy Clerk Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Cecilia Skatele Mambwe. The consultant from Silver Lining Healthcare, Dr. Paul Ravi. Colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you all to this important event, the launch of the Mental Health Awareness Outreach at the National Assembly of Zambia. Under the theme 10 Awareness into Action, this initiative comes at a crucial time when mental health is gaining recognition as a vital component of holistic well-being. And yet, despite increased awareness, the topic still carries stigma and silence, even in the professional environments such as ours. Today, we are not just raising awareness, we are taking action. A step toward creating a culture that acknowledges mental health struggles, provides support without judgment, and equips individuals with tools to seek and offer help. We are especially privileged to have Dr. Paul Ravi from Silver Lining Healthcare here with us this afternoon. His expertise and commitment to mental wellness will guide us in understanding how we can better support one another and foster a mentally healthy workplace. Let today mark the beginning of an ongoing conversation and commitment to mental health, not just in words, but in real sustained action. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great honor and privilege to invite Mrs. Cecilia Skatele Mambwe, Deputy Clerk, Corporate Affairs, to deliver her official remarks. Thank you.
So happy this afternoon. Dr. Paul Ravi, the head of psychiatry at the University of Zambia and also consultant at Silver Lining Healthcare, I beg your pardon. Heads of departments present, representatives and staff from Silver Lining Healthcare, staff of the National Assembly of Zambia, members of the press, if we have any, we have from our own. Simply put, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. It is both an honor and a solemn responsibility for me to address you today as we launch the mental health awareness outreach here at the National Assembly of Zambia under the powerful theme that Mr. Sambo has already spoken to, which is turn awareness into action. So from that theme, I think there are two keywords there, awareness and action. And I'm sure at the end of this awareness week, we'll all learn just how we can turn awareness into action. So this exercise will be conducted from tomorrow, 3rd of June, to Friday, 6th of June, 2025. And the aim is of promoting mental well-being and support for those affected by mental health challenges. And I must pause here to say that I think we are all affected by mental health challenges. We may not be the ones that have that serious mental health problem, but we may know somebody who is close to us who may be suffering from that mental health disease. So we are, most likely than not, all of us are affected. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Silver Lining Healthcare Limited, whom I shall abbreviate as SLHC, who have partnered with us in this noble work. Our partner has offered to provide free counseling services. And we will station a psychosocial counselor at Parliament Clinic during the stated dates. So let's make use of those free counseling services. It's not every day that you get such, quality services for free. It is gratifying to note SLHC's support in wellness programming, mental health screenings, and advocacy initiatives. Is helping to build a stronger foundation for mental well-being within our institution and beyond. Partnerships like this are essential in turning awareness into meaningful, sustainable action. Mr. Sambo talked about action, but not just action, one-off action. It must be something that we can sustain. Ladies and gentlemen, Zambia, like many other nations, continues to experience a rise in mental health challenges across all age groups and demographics, from the pressures faced by young people to the silent struggles of the elderly, from trauma among our women and men in uniform to the stress experienced by public servants. Mental health is a national issue, not a marginal one. According to the Zambia National Public Health Institute, mental health conditions affect an estimated 1 in 5 Zambians. Mr. Mkupa. So if I tell you, start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I go to the next row, there's Malala there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which 2 are affected? So there must be 2 with a mental health disease in these 2 rows. So you can imagine the statistics are quite alarming. 1 in 5 Zambians have mental health conditions. And this is with depression and anxiety being the most common. Yet, only a fraction of those affected receive any form of professional care. And this is why I think this year's theme is very, very important, turning awareness into action. Because while the statistics are alarming for mental health disease, only a few are receiving that support. And most cases, like in the workplace, we even say, you know, we pass such comments like at at random. You make such a comment, and for you it's just like any other day. But you may actually not know that that person is actually suffering from mental health condition, and you could be the person to actually take action. So you have to look at yourself as being the person that can actually take that particular action, because this theme is calling upon all of us to act. Ladies and gentlemen, as the administrative leadership of the National Assembly, we are aware of the triggers of mental health challenges within our institution. These include, so there are many, but just as an example, poor work ethics, long hours of heavy workloads, conflict, bullying or sexual harassment, tough co-worker relationships, financial concerns, and poor communication and lack of support, among others. So there are many. When you get to hear this for the first time, you probably may even be wondering, how can that be a source of mental health? Issues of long hours of heavy workloads, how can that affect somebody mentally? For us, we may look at it as a normal thing. But for the experts, as we shall learn during the course of the week, some of these things can actually result into the mental health conditions that we are talking about, or that we'll be talking about throughout this week. As an institution, we are committed to fostering a supportive and mentally healthy workplace for all employees, from staff to members of parliament. This month and beyond, we aim to implement wellness programs, encourage open dialogue, and create an environment where mental health is treated with the seriousness it deserves. So there'll be a lot of talking, a lot of discussion, dialogue, and let us be free. Let's open up, ask questions, and get the help that we require. So let us be clear, awareness is not enough. Awareness is not enough. So the time has come for action. And action begins with leadership, collaboration, and accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, as we mark this year's Mental Health Month, I invite every one of you fellow workers of staff to take advantage of these free counseling services that have been brought closer home. And it's also a time, let's just not think about I. Let us look around, just in the workplace. Look around. You could help somebody that you could point to. It's not always easy for everyone to actually access or go for support or help. But you, the person next to that person who you can clearly see as a mental health challenge, could actually be the help that that person needs. So, as we take advantage of these free counseling services, let us tag along. Let's put somebody with us so that we can go for these free services. As the late Kofi Annan once said, there is no health without mental health. And I want to agree with that. We would do well to let that truth shape not only our words today, but our actions tomorrow. Therefore, do not allow yourself and indeed others to suffer in silence when help is available. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, allow me once again to thank Silver Lining Healthcare Limited for partnering with us on this noble cause. I want, on behalf of management of the National Assembly of Zambia, to reaffirm our commitment to championing mental health, not just this month, but every day. Awareness to action and sustained action. So let's champion mental health every day, not just this month. We will endeavor to turn awareness into action for a healthier National Assembly of Zambia, for a stronger National Assembly of Zambia, and lastly, for a more compassionate National Assembly of Zambia, especially that part. You cannot turn awareness into action if you do not have that compassion. So it must start from there. And with those few remarks, I want to encourage all of us to participate in this Mental Health Awareness Week. For those of us that are here, we have the privilege to hear from our experts. But once we leave this place, let us go out and tell the others that are not here. The services will be available for the whole of this week up to Friday. With that, I end my speech. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for those welcoming remarks. At this juncture, I would invite the high table to just take the front row seats as I am about to call upon Dr. Ravi. So Dr. Ravi Paul is a highly respected consultant psychiatrist and the head of Department of the Psychiatry at the University Teaching Hospital and the School of Medicine at the University of Zambia. As a esteemed alumnus with an MBBS and MD in psychiatry from India, Dr. Paul has significantly advanced psychiatric research and clinical practice in Zambia. His leadership facilitated the training of over 60 clinical neuropsychologists and approximately 15 psychiatrists who now hold key positions within the Ministry of Health and Education, enhancing mental health services nationwide. Dr. Paul has garnered international recognition for his efforts, attracting students from abroad to Zambia for training. He has conducted exceptional work in harm reduction, promoting abstinence from alcohol, using brief intervention, CBT and CETA. So I would have to ask that you explain. Yes, thanks. And enhancing treatment compliance among patients with HIV who have comorbid alcohol use disorders. He has been working strenuously on reducing the ever-increasing alcohol use among women. Shall we please clap for him? Dr.
Thank you, sir. Very good afternoon to all my friends and colleagues here. It's a wonderful opportunity to speak in front of this elite gathering because where I come from, people had started embracing mental health so very well. Mostly the celebrities of the country, India. The celebrities came out in the open and started talking about, hey, I'm bipolar, hey, I'm suffering from depression, or I had a drug abuse problem, and this is how I made out of it. And that helped so many people to understand that mental health issues are not limited to poor. It is not limited to certain discrete population. Anyone and everyone can get affected by that. And therefore people started embracing mental health and coming out in the open. there was a female actress from the UK, Catherine Zeta-Jones. She also came out in the open and told people that I am bipolar, and there are some days when I don't come out. There are some days when I just stay behind doors, just on my bed. Sometimes I don't even come out for my acting sessions, for shooting. And many times it may take months before I'm capable enough to again come out in the open and socialize. But with medications, with therapy, talk therapy, I have been able to understand my mental health better. And now I feel so very good that I can live a near normal life. So if these people can come out and talk about mental health, I think they are leading by an example and telling us we should also come out and seek help, see around our environment who is going through what, in what way can we help. There are many people who would be able to pick up mental health issues in their colleagues and friends, and they would know that we offer those services at Silver Lining. Okay? If they feel that if they spoke directly to that person, it may stigmatize them, they will just drop kind of my card on the table and say, seek help from this place. I'm sure you would feel better. And there's so many referrals which come like that anonymously to us. So it is very, very important that we accept mental health and understand that there is no health without mental health. So I'll talk about stress at the workplace. We all are working in highly stressful environments, trying to meet deadlines, trying to work overtime and finish our works. There are so many things which hinder our progress. Many times we forget about ourselves. We forget about our family. We forget that for us to sustain our agility and ability to work, our minds need rest. It also needs distraction from work. And therefore, for us to continuously perform at an optimal level, we need to manage our mental health and de-stress ourselves. This is what my topic is about today. So that's my presentation outline. So we'll talk about legislation. It shall be the duty of every employer to ensure, so far as is reasonably practicable, the health, safety, and welfare at work of all the employees. I've seen that recently we have been having hundreds of patients who have come with lead toxicity. They are young adults, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years old, being affected by lead poisoning because they're working in those mines or they're staying in the environments where lead levels are way too high. And that affects their brains, that affects their nerves, and they become kind of crippled. Their thinking gets affected. Many of them cannot speak anymore. They start stammering. Others, they cannot walk properly. So it is the duty of the employer to look into which environment am I providing to my employee. Is it healthy? Is it sustainable? Will they be able to deliver up to the optimal level if they stay in that environment? So every employer shall make a suitable and sufficient assessment of the risks to the health and safety of his employees to which they are exposed while they are at work. And this is utmost important. So what is stress? Stress is a reaction people have to excessive pressures or other type of demands which their workplace poses to them. It arises when they worry and they feel they cannot cope with the situation which is at hand. Stress is a wear and tear of our minds and bodies as we attempt to cope with continually changing environment. We all went through the stress recently when all of a sudden we didn't have ZESCO for more than 2 hours in a day. Everyone had to go through that. Okay. It took us a lot of time before we could put solar panels and get the power back. Okay. We had to buy gas stoves and forget about electrical stoves. Okay. So many things took a back stage. We couldn't finish our assignments because there was no power. Okay. So that wear and tear which we went through when we face a calamity, when we face a situation which is stressful, is what stress is all about. So stress occurs when the pressure is greater than the resource. When the pressure that we are subjected to is way greater than our resources which are at hand. So stress feelings could be worry, feeling tense, feeling tired, frightened. Even elation is a stress. Getting married is a stress. It is a happy stress. But still, it is not the norm. You don't get married every day. Having birthday of a child. Betty recently had the birthday of her girl a few days ago. And I could see how stressful she was to organize everything, to invite people. My daughter should be happy with whatever arrangements I am making. So all these things, good or bad, happy or sad, leave us stressed. So depression, anxiety and anger, they are all feelings of stress. Types of stress could be external and could be internal as well. So external stress is the physical environment, social interactions, could be organizational, major life events and daily hassles. Under physical environment, we could be in a very noisy place. There could be bright lights or there could be no light at all. Heat and cold. So one of my friends got a very lucrative job in Kenya, and Kenya, the temperatures of Nairobi are usually 10 degrees lower than Lusaka, and he had come from Livingston, which is much warmer than Lusaka. So he went to Nairobi to work there. He couldn't tolerate the temperatures. It was winter months, and the whole day was shivering. Even if he wore sweaters or jackets, it was not helpful because the office was not centrally heated. He could barely manage a couple of weeks, and then he had to resign from his assignment and come back to Zambia. So environmental factors, they are very important. We may ignore them, but definitely they play a role. Now the offices, they are confined. Many of us are working from home. In the Western world, it's a norm that there is no office space, or even if it is there, it is very confined, very small, and it's difficult to work in that small space. So that could be stressful for us. Social interactions, we may interact with people who are rude to us, who are bossy, intimidating, aggressive. There could be bullying and there could be sexual harassment at workplace. Many of us go through that day in and day out. It's a perpetual thing. But we just keep absorbing it, we keep enduring it, and we don't come out in the open and speak to others, our friends and colleagues who would be able to help us. I would say there should be a permanent psychological setup within every organization, like how schools have started having psychologists. So any child, if they're having any problems in their learning, they seek help from psychologists and they bring out what could be the underlying reason. So similarly, if there are places where each one of us can go to and speak out our woes, it could be very helpful. Just talking about our problems is therapeutic. Just speaking out, voicing out to anyone, even if they're not mental health professionals, can help us come out of that problem. There are organizational rules, regulations, there are protocols, red tapeism, there are deadlines that we follow, and definitely underemployment. So in my department, we are so understaffed that there are 7 of us who are working for an establishment of 60. So it really puts a lot of pressure on us when we have to deliver, meet the deadlines, but still we are very few to do that. Major life events like birth, death, loss of job, promotions. I was a very happy-go-lucky person when I was a lecturer only, until they made me the head of department. Now the responsibilities increased manifold. I have to teach and train and be an administrator and also run the clinics. So before I would knock off at 16 hours, switch off my phone, no worries, no issues. But now my phone cannot go silent even for a minute because all the time people are calling, their meetings, their patients that I have to look after. So promotions can be rosy but can be very stressful at the same time. Marital status change, yes, getting married is stress, coming out of marriage is also stressful. So recently we had COVID-19 as a pandemic. So COVID-19 really played havoc with many of our loved ones. We lost lives and it was difficult to come out of that. I lost my mother during COVID and I'm still mourning that. I've still not come out of it. So it was really very traumatic. It was during COVID that people could actually relate to what mental health is all about. The mental health conditions were number 2 in terms of morbidity world over. The very first were cardiovascular problems. Come COVID and mental health problems become number 1 cause of morbidity world over. So many people are suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They saw their loved ones die in front of them and still they could not take them for cremation because of being infected or getting infected and bringing infection home. Okay. So many people got terribly sick and were admitted in ICUs for days at a stretch, fighting for their life, and some could make it and others could not. So after COVID-19, people realized how important mental health is. We had so many people who would come to our clinic if they just had a cough or a sneeze and they would say, "Doc, is it COVID? Am I going to die?" And then we reassure them, no, this is just a simple flu or common cold. Okay, you just have bronchitis. But it was difficult for them to relate to those reassurances because immediately they start thinking about the most adverse, am I going to die? Is it COVID pneumonia? Will I survive this or not? Of course, deaths and imprisonments or consequences of deaths, it is also a major life event. We have seen now there are so many private companies who dish out money, attract you to get help from us at exorbitant rates of interest. When we are in need, we accept those monetary helps, not knowing that it is us who have to pay back. And I've seen many people, they start borrowing, and if they can't pay, they borrow from another one and pay back the previous person who gave them the money, and that cycle continues until the debt becomes insurmountable. Most of these things are done secretively so that your spouse or your family doesn't know about it until you're not able to come to terms with the threats of the people that you're owing money, and they take a legal action against you, and then the hell breaks because either it is imprisonment or you have to sell property or something to pay back those people. So it has become kind of a norm here. We should avoid going into such situations as much as possible. Daily hassles of commuting. You have seen the rush hours from 7 to 9 a.m. in the morning. It takes a long time to reach your offices, and also during the evening hours, especially Friday evening or even it's a long weekend. We take hours on the road. But still, we are still better off than the Western world, where people leave their homes 2 hours in advance to reach at their workplace, and again they drive back home for 2 hours. We are still much better. Within 15 minutes to an hour, even on a bad day, we can still reach our destination. We all go through misplacing our personal belongings like keys, etc., which can cause a lot of anxiety to us. We can have mechanical breakdowns where we need extra help and sometimes it may not be available. There are a lot of internal stresses like lifestyle choices that we make. There is a lot of negative self-talk, mind traps and personality traits. I'll discuss them here. Drugs of misuse like caffeine and nicotine. Nowadays it's a fashion to have a glass of cappuccino or your Americano or something to brighten your day. It opens your eyes and you're able to focus and concentrate. And just after a few weeks or months of regular intake, we start showing dependence to that caffeine that we are taking or our teas that we are having. Okay. Without using them, we are not able to even open our eyes or focus on anything. And I've seen long distance drivers, truck drivers, they put next to them crates of Red Bull or other caffeinated drinks, energy drinks, just to stay alert and awake for their long commute, not knowing that high levels of caffeine is also detrimental to their heart health. It can cause withdrawal seizures. So I have several clients who have come to me when they have been driving and they have gone into a seizure and banged their vehicle into others, causing a lot of damage to property and to life. But when they are starting it, no one tells them that it is not energy that you are getting. It is an addiction that you are heading into. Similarly, cannabis has become like number one source of dependence in the country, or popularly called as daga. It is being consumed by people of all age groups, as young as 10 or even below, and even elderly, they resort to smoking weed. So there has been wrong myths and notions that weed is not dependence causing and they can control it, and it helps with sleep, it reduces anxiety. But again, they do not understand that the same weed can cause psychosis, the same weed can cause severe anxiety and depression. Those who are the first users can go through first dose reaction, which is a very traumatic experience accompanied by vivid hallucinations, hearing threatening voices, and also having illusions, distorted images, which are very, very traumatic to the person. Heroin and cocaine has gradually crept into our society, and the drug traffickers have reduced the cost to bare minimum. You can get a parcel of cocaine for 5 kwacha, and same is for heroin. So now the consumption has increased. Before, Zambia used to be a transit zone for heavy drugs, but now everything pilferages into Zambia itself, and we have become the end user. There are so many people who take cocaine and heroin now in Zambia. Alcohol and our locally brewed tujili has also caused a lot of trouble. There was a study published by Professor Howard, our first psychiatrist of the independent Zambia. He says that patients who consume alcohol in Zambia within 5 years can damage their livers permanently, called cirrhosis of liver. The cirrhosis of liver in the rest of the world happens after 15 years of regular drinking. So there is somewhere we are projecting on the world map as the earliest to cause damage to our livers within 5 years of regular heavy drinking. So it is not something to be proud of. Shisha and glue has also, come with the Arabic influence into the country. You've seen that there are many shisha bars, all kinds of people are consuming shisha. Many women and girls will say that shisha is not an addiction. It is fine. My father allows me to smoke shisha. He also does it. We have shisha parties at home. But one puff of shisha is equivalent to 100 cigarettes. Imagine, can a girl be allowed to smoke 100 cigarettes? Okay. So when they finish one bar of shisha, they have already smoked a few hundred cigarettes on that particular day. And we have seen that these people or these children, they have very emotionally turmoil life, anger outbursts, suicidal threats and attempts. Okay, so all these are common amongst these. There are also prescription drugs like diazepam, like Artane, which are consumed, like codeine, for example. Codeine is a cough syrup. You are not supposed to take beyond the advised or therapeutic dose, which is 5 ml once a day to maximum 3 times a day. But here people consume 5 to 6 bottles of codeine in one sitting. It's only going to cause addiction, damage our brains, and nothing else. So, lack of sleep issues have become very common. The main culprit is use of our mobile phones, using our gadgets, like even if you're writing or responding to emails, our mind is highly alert. Watching reels and videos keep us occupied. These reels are also prepared by psychologists, okay, because they know what is most addictive to your human mind. Most addictive to human mind is short spurts of knowledge, education, and pleasure. So whatever we see in those reels, they're not more than a minute, and our mind gets hooked on to that. We get that information, we want more, we keep scrolling, and we don't realize hours have passed, and we have just been scrolling our screen, and we could have slept, we could have rested, we could have done something better in that particular time. People have overloaded schedules, and they don't find enough time to focus upon themselves, to go to the gym, to have some time with their family or friends. There is a phenomenon called Ikigai phenomena. It is from a place in Japan where most people live longer than 125 years. And the main reason, the main underlying factor why they go beyond that age is, 1, they never retire, 2, they don't overwork, 3, they go for long walks, 4, they always have a friend or group of friends which always meet on the evenings or over the weekends, and they laugh and they share their moments over the week, they have fun, and also they do not resort to drinking and smoking. And that takes them beyond 125 years. It is not very difficult. We all can do that. Negative self-talk or pessimistic thinking. We always think negative. I can't do it. I may not be able to present myself properly. What will my superior think about it? Okay. So all the time, I'm a failure, I'm not good. Self-criticism, over-analyzing ourselves. Will this happen? Will that happen? Will this business be a success? No, we just need to go ahead with our gut feeling and get done with it. There are several mind traps. There are unrealistic expectations. When patients are being brought by their parents, so first thing they ask is, doctor, is there a cure to this problem? Unrealistic expectations. If the child is autistic, they'll say, I want him to become a doctor. Okay, can you help me with that? Unrealistic expectations. Okay? Similarly, whenever we start a business or a program or anything, we also tend to have many expectations, many outcomes out of that. They should be more realistic to the environment that we are in and to the population that we are serving. How far can we go, how big a leap can we do, is all dependent upon the situation that we are in. We start taking things personally. Yeah, it happens to all of us. Any comment, anything which was said across, we think it was meant for us. And then we start taking it like as if people are targeting us. It happens in the offices very often. People talk about me, they talk bad about me, they go to the superiors and bitch about me. All those things we think is happening around us, those are just our wrong thinking. We don't have any evidence to prove that. We just get trapped in that taking things personally. There is also all or nothing thinking. Either I have to do the best or I don't exist. Either this work should be done to the utmost perfection or I may not be able to do justice to what is being given to me. There are gray zones also. There are middle paths as well. You don't always have to be the best. Average good, fairly good is also acceptable, and we should understand that. There's a lot of exaggeration. We try to exaggerate our goods and try to minimize our bads. We try to pose to the world what we are not, so that they can have a good image of us. But we don't understand that that is not an appropriate or realistic proposition of ours who we are. There is also rigid thinking. People are not flexible. Okay? They should be open to ideas, to suggestions, to changing environment. Okay? We need to bring in changes as things around us change. We are not going around in bicycles anymore. We have cars, we have aeroplanes, we have other means of transport. We can't be rigid to keep embracing the past and not look at the future and all those exciting opportunities the future gives us. There are several personality traits which can bring a lot of stress. Some people are perfectionists. They want the work to be done in that particular way. Okay? And if it is not done in that particular way, they are not happy. So perfectionism can be exercised at the cost of the time. So we may take several days or weeks to finish a small job, but we want it to be perfectly done. And when it is not perfectly done, then it irritates us, it angers us, it stresses us. So perfectionism is good, but not at the cost of the duration we take to finish that particular job. Workaholics, people work day in and day out. They keep on thinking that I am very good. Even before sleeping, I have so many assignments that I finish. I get up, my phone is full of work, and I tend to do that. Workaholics cannot last long. Soon they start making mistakes. Soon things start going haywire. So we should be mindful of that. We should work as much our brain allows us to. We should not overexert and always have a work and life balance. Some people are anxious and avoidant. Even if they have a problem, they don't have guts to go and talk to their superiors or even to their friends. They try to absorb everything and avoid situations rather than confronting them or even highlighting them to those who concern. So that is also very stressful. Many people are dependent. They cannot take decisions on their own. They have to rely upon others to make such decisions for them. Even when it comes to choosing a spouse, they have to rely maybe on their parents or on their friend that is this person good enough for me? Should I take this job or not? Should I be writing with a fountain pen or a ballpoint pen? All their life choices are made by others. These are dependent people and they exist amongst us. We know them, they're around us. It's just that we just mock it around and think that, oh, no, this guy has these issues. But all these things are treatable. Narcissism is very common, where people feel that they're entitled to be served, to be recognized. People should bow down to them. People should bow down to them and should take them as superiors, as better than them. And probably that is when they feel that their reputation is intact. So they would not recognize others' efforts. They would feel that they are the ones who call the shots. They are the ones who have all the ideas. They are the ones who know the things to the best of their abilities. So narcissism is very detrimental in personal relationships. Is very detrimental even at the workplace. If we have a superior who is narcissist, he would never listen to any suggestions or advice that others would give and would continue following what comes in their mind, feeling that that is the best for them and for the organization. The stress could be negative or positive. It is a contributory factor. So stress could be positive or negative. Negative stress is a contributory factor in minor conditions such as headaches, digestive problems, weight gain, weight loss, skin complaints like acne outbursts, insomnia, and ulcers. Gastric ulcers are a consequence of negative stress. Excessive, prolonged, and unrelieved stress can have harmful effects on mental, physical, and spiritual health. Positive stress is also causing the same, spurring motivation and awareness, providing stimulation to cope with situations which are challenging. Stress also provides a sense of urgency and alertness needed for survival when situation is confronting and threatening. So positive stress could be if you have an exam or an assignment that has to be submitted, we all put our energies together and meet the deadlines. So stress can help us in getting the best out of us, provided it is manageable, where we can cope, where we have the resources to combat that. Everyone is different with unique perceptions and reactions to events. There is no single level of stress that is optimal for all people. We all have our own resilience. We all have our own styles of facing the stressful situation. Some are more sensitive owing to the experiences they have had in their childhood, the influence of teachers, parents, religion, etc. There are many religious sects which help you out if you are having any monetary issues. They will give you some money and say, okay, start your business, start your profession, and whenever you have enough, you also help others. So, yeah, religion can have far-fetched implications if it is practiced in a rightful way. Most of the stress we experience is self-generated. How we perceive life, whether an event makes us feel threatened or stimulated, encouraged or discouraged, happy or sad, depends on large extent on how we perceive ourselves. So perception. I could be highly stressed that I am supposed to talk in front of this gathering, and I could take this as an opportunity to bring mental health awareness to all of you and maybe make a change in your lives, and that could be a very successful meeting. Self-generated stress is something of a paradox because so many people think of external causes when they are upset. They think about what could have happened outside, not thinking about what is wrong within them. Recognizing that we create most of our own upsets is an important first step towards coping with them. That all the stress is because of how I responded to a situation. If someone shouts at you, you could shout back and create a bigger issue or a situation. And you could also be resilient and quiet because that person is not in the best of the moods. He may have made a mistake. Talking back would mean mistake multiplied by 2. So let me step back and hear him out. And things can get better. Stress response controlled by endocrine system. Demands on the physical or mental system of the body result in hormone secretion. We are no longer staying in the bushes where people were always scared of their life. That was the only stress. 1, to survive from the wild animals. 2, how to kill another animal so that they could eat. Okay? So it was a flight or fight reaction that we are all genetically able in. Either we run away from a situation or we fight the situation. Okay? Situations have changed now. We are a more civilized world. There are no lions, there are no bears, there are no leopards running around here. Okay? So who are those lions? Who are those leopards? These are the environments that we live in. These are the people that we relate to. Okay? These are our colleagues, friends, and our superiors. So whenever you are facing a situation which is life-threatening or stressful, our bodies will release adrenaline. So that adrenaline is a stress hormone. So what does that do? The adrenaline will cause increased pupil dilatation. So our people become wide so that we are able to perceive properly. We can absorb anything wrong happening in the environment. It leads to sweating on the forehead, perspiration, increase the heart rate and blood pressure. Our heart starts to pump faster. Rapid breathing. All this is preparing us to run or to fight. But we are no longer. We are in the office. We are in a structured environment. We don't have to run or fight. But responses remain the same because this is how we were genetically engineered. It can also lead to muscle tenseness. All the muscles from the scalp, from the back, they all get tense. That is why people who work late hours, they have tension type headaches. Headaches in the back of their head called occipital headaches. They have pain in their shoulders, low backache. All that is because of the increased muscle tension. Increased mental alertness over a longer period of time can lead to tiredness. So there is a general adaptation syndrome. If we are exposed to the stressful situation over and over again, we will start with an alarm response, then we adapt and ultimately we get exhausted if the situation does not improve. The alarm response is, as I mentioned, fight or flight response that prepares the body for an immediate threat. Someone says, I need this paper by end of the day. That is the alarm response that we are set into. Adaptation response, if the source persists, if the stress persists, body prepares for long-term protection, secreting hormones to increase blood sugar levels. So most of the most of the leading cause of non-communicable diseases in the world is stress. One of the most leading causes of non-communicable diseases in the world is stress. Stress-induced hypertension, stress-induced high blood sugar, leading to diabetes. Stress causes release of calcium in the blood and corrodes our bones, leading to low back pain, leading to stress fractures, etc. The phase is common and not necessarily harmful, and must include periods of relaxation and rest when we cope, where we balance with this stressful situation. Fatigue, concentration lapses, irritability and lethargy results as the stress turns negative. If you are not able to manage it here, then we start becoming fatigued, our concentration goes down, we become more irritable, we are tired all the time. We have learnt about a condition called burnout syndrome. This is what we are in, burned out. Burnout is when the pressures are excessive and we can't cope with it and we are always tired, we lack concentration, we are irritable and fatigued. Then comes the last stage, the stage of exhaustion. In chronic stressful situations, sufferers enters the exhaustion phase. Emotional, physical and mental resources suffer heavily. Body experiences adrenaline exhaustion, leading to decreased stress tolerance. Even a short stressful situation can lead to adverse effects. Progressive mental and physical exhaustion, illness and collapse. Many times students are brought to us, they collapse just before an exam or before a viva. Why is that? Because they have tried to cope with the stress of the exam, of studying, and when they are unable to do that, this is when exhaustion happens and they collapse. What are the symptoms of this stress? So we have sleep pattern changes. Stress causes early insomnia. We fail to sleep immediately as we hit the bed, toss and turn for several hours and then sleep comes to us. People start drinking and smoking to help find sleep immediately, but that doesn't help as well. Substances of misuse can help you to find sleep, okay, can control your early insomnia, but then people wake up in the middle of the night after 2 or 3 hours of sleeping and they can't go back to sleep. So drug abuse problems cause middle insomnia. Many people think that they can smoke weed and go off to sleep, but that sleep will be limited to 2 or 3 hours. And then when you wake up, sleep will not be coming near you. There is a lot of fatigue and tiredness, physical tiredness, mental tiredness, digestion changes, flatulence, dyspepsia, indigestion, gastric ulcers, they are all caused by stress. Loss of sexual drive, we don't talk much about it. Even when patients come to our clinics, they are very quiet about talking about their sexual life. But then you see, behind the curtains, things are not going well. And sexual interaction is an important part of a human life. If it takes a back stage, your life starts dangling now. Headaches are common. Sometimes it is tension type headaches, sometimes it is frontal headaches, body aches and pains, infections, people who are more stressed get prone to simple common colds, flus, coughs, sore throats so frequently. They are always on antibiotics. One course finishes and they have to go back to another. Viral infections, bacterial infections and all of that. Indigestion, I've already discussed. Dizziness, fainting when they reach the exhaustion stage. Sweating and trembling, stress can cause that. Tingling of hands and feet, again, regular stress, regular higher levels of adrenaline in our blood can damage our nerves. Regular high blood sugar in our blood can cause damage to the nerves leading to neuropathy. People can be breathless, they can have palpitations and they miss heartbeats. Mental symptoms, lack of focus and concentration, memory lapses, missing on assignments, missing on important work or tasks they were supposed to finish and submit. Okay. Difficulty in making decisions. So someone takes a lot of time before they can arrive at a final decision. Confusion, disorientation and panic attacks. Panic attacks are sudden intense attacks of anxiety wherein a person feels that either they are losing control, they are going crazy, or they're going to die. Okay? Or they're going to have a stroke, or they're going to have a heart attack. So because it's the palpitations which takes them towards, maybe they're going to have a heart attack. Because their mind becomes confused, they feel it is going to be a stroke. And sometimes they feel that their legs are wobbly, they can't hold their weight, and therefore they feel, yeah, they're going to go faint, or they're going to get into a convulsive episode, into an epileptic attack. And that increases anxiety further, that brings another panic attack, and they do not stop. Many times people, when they are in a panic attack, they park their cars on the side so that their breathing becomes normal and they can again control their bodies and again go back to their work or start driving. But panic attacks can happen so many times in a day. Hundreds of attacks can happen and they are all psychological. There is no physical abnormality that can happen or physical damage that can happen to these people because they are generated by their mind only. Behavioral symptoms like appetite changes, people can eat their way out of depression and anxiety. So people become compulsive eaters, eating like junk food, or sweet things, chocolates and burgers and pizzas. So that can control their anxiety because it releases sugar in the brain and one feels relaxed during that time. Eating disorders like anorexia or bulimia. Anorexia is avoiding foods deliberately, and bulimia is when you overeat and then you induce vomiting so that your weight does not increase. Increased intake of alcohol and other drugs as a part of self-medication. Increased smoking, restlessness, fidgetiness, nail biting. And lastly, hypochondria. Hypochondria is fearing that I have a certain illness. And person names that maybe I have an HIV, maybe I have a heart problem, maybe I have COVID, maybe I have a cancer. Why do you have such headaches? Maybe you have a brain tumor. Okay, we start making those diagnoses and Google is the biggest culprit in that. Moment we put 3, 4, 5 symptoms, hit the Google button and there you go. They give you 7 or 8 life-threatening diagnoses and one starts believing this is what I'm suffering from. Emotional symptoms could be bouts of depression, impatience, fits of rage. Fights happen. We have seen our children sometimes become so aggressive, they are verbally aggressive towards us. We start thinking that this child has become unruly, not knowing that they are having their own challenges. Between partners, one of the partners can start behaving differently. Again, we start thinking there's something wrong. Now he doesn't like me anymore. There's no love between us. But no, there could be something else which is brewing all this. Could be tearfulness, especially amongst women, because men, by default, they are always supposed to be strong. Okay? Yes, we all can cry. It's not a problem for us to cry. But yeah, we have to be strong, we have to be tolerant. Therefore, men don't cry that much. Tearfulness could be commonly seen in women. Deterioration of personal hygiene and appearance, the way we look, the way we wear our dresses, our kemptness goes a-begging when we are stressed. Stress is not the same as ill health but has been related to such illnesses like cardiovascular problems, like I mentioned, hypertension, myocardial infarction, diabetes, immune system diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, Asthma. Many studies have shown that if we treat asthmatic patients with therapy and counseling, their use of inhaler reduces remarkably. If you put them on anti-stress medications, they hardly have hospital visitations because we are able to control the root cause of asthma, which is stress and anxiety. And similarly, we can have better control of the sugar levels of the people if their stress levels are managed appropriately. So all these I've discussed earlier, but just to bring out skin complaints, psoriasis. Psoriasis is a patchy rash on the skin which is scaly and very itchy, and whenever someone is highly stressed, those eruptions can happen all over the body. So stress can lead to psoriasis, headaches and migraines, premenstrual syndromes, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, where women just before their periods become very irritable, very angry, moody, etc. That could be from an underlying stress alongside depression. 80% of all modern diseases have their origin in stress. So it is very expensive. In the UK only, 40 million working days per year are lost directly from stress-related illnesses. Cost in absenteeism to British industry is estimated as £1.5 billion. In Western countries, if someone, for example a teacher, doesn't report for work, it is not holiday for the students. They have to replace that teacher with another teacher, and that replacement will get their daily salary, their daily allowance. That is an extra cost to the government. Okay? So you can see it is pound 1.5 billion for the British industry due to the absenteeism. So it is not cheap, it is very, very expensive. So this is high time when we start learning about how stress plays around with our lives. It affects our thinking, it affects our relationship, it affects our decision making. It also affects how we relate to others, how we see work, our perception of ourselves and the world around us. With these few words, I end it here. Thank you so very much for your patient listening. Thanks a lot.
I would call upon staff from Silver Lining Healthcare. So the staff are Ms. Betty Olo and Ms. Susan Chungu. So at this juncture, I think it's open now for questions. Is there any questions? Or perhaps you can introduce yourselves again. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. That was a stressful, long lecture, but I hope at the end of the day you managed to get something. Because at the end of the day, we cannot run away from stress, but the only thing we have to do is to learn how to manage. So my name is Betty Olo. I'm a clinical neuropsychologist. The rest are just titles that we let be. So I'll allow my colleague to introduce herself, and then we can start with the questions, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Susan Chungu, also a clinical neuropsychologist, and I work with Dr. Ravi.
Any questions? Any comments? Any feedback? Oh yes. So in terms of experiences, I'm trying to see what is practical. This is our day-to-day. It's so difficult to sit in my therapy room and see no one coming in because of stress. But what I have learned is, how do you manage? And how do you handle? How does it affect you, and how does it affect people around you? So when I think about managing of stress, I always go to psychotherapy. But then when it's too much, I'll always send you back to Dr. Ravi, and we're going to manage with medication as well. I'm looking at the audience and I'm thinking how people are tired right now. But at the same time, I really want any feedback.
So whenever we face any stressful situation in our life, what happens is our brain cells, they become quiet, quiescent, dormant. They stop producing the hormones or neurotransmitters that they normally produce, like dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. Okay? The most wanted neurotransmitter amongst them is serotonin, which is called a happy hormone. We can't smile if you don't have serotonin in our brains. Okay? So that serotonin goes missing when we face chronic stress in our life. So what do the therapist and the psychiatrist do? We give medicines to make those nerve cells or neurons start producing serotonin again. And Betty and Susan help with coping mechanisms, skills. How can you think more realistically? How you stop thinking negatively? How you become more positive in your approach towards what is stressing you? So both medications and therapy works wonders. Okay? So once you are on the medicines, the sleep comes back, the appetite comes back, your mood changes, your motivation levels get better. And they are not for good. Many times clients ask, do you have to be on this pill forever? No, it's just for 3 months, 6 months at the maximum, and then we stop. It depends upon person to person, situation to situation. Okay? There are medications like for diabetes, for hypertension, that you take for life. But in our field, depending upon the diagnosis, the medication could be short term. And then with therapy, you can learn coping skills and can be on your own rather than being on medications for you. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
I have one. How many of us are happy?
Oh, there is a question there.
How many of us are happy? I can only see a few hands. How many of us are happy? And even the happiness itself, is just like this. And if we look at us now, just, from the day, from this morning, since this morning when the day began, we've experienced so many things, eh? Some of us are even thinking, how will I move from here to home? Or what will I do when I reach there? So what is causing all those thoughts? We're trying to find a solution, right? And that is why we want to talk. We want feedback from you guys. And when we are asking, it's okay for you to tell us a few things, your experiences even, a little bit, we wouldn't mind. Yes,
I think
sir?
there are two questions now. There's behind. Okay.
Okay, so we start with that one.
Good afternoon. My name is Craig, Dr. Paul. There's one statement that you are dedicated. I'm a bit interested in it. You talked of alcohol causing the liver failure the next 15 years. So does it apply to people that take alcohol maybe occasionally?
No, it doesn't apply to those. It is the pattern in which alcohol is drunk here locally. Most of our clients that come to us, they are binge drinkers. Binge drinking means once they start drinking, they will only stop if they fall sick or the money finishes. So they continuously take alcohol, and of course there is no control over the percentage of alcohol. The registered alcohol in the market would be 40% or 37%, it could be 8%. But these locally brewed alcohols, it could be 70%, 60%. And in some, as they are going under the sun, they are still getting brewed inside and the percentage is ever increasing. So therefore they are very, very damaging for us. Okay, so drinking in moderation will not cause any harm. Thank you.
The second one, pertaining to the same, in terms of, are there any symptoms that you can maybe share with us for a person that will be experiencing maybe the issue of the liver? Just simple and realistic.
So, first of all, we should know the symptoms of dependence. So when substance or alcohol takes precedence over everything else in our life, we should know that we are dependent. When a drug or alcohol-seeking behavior is paramount to all other role obligations, be it being a parent or an office bearer, okay, be it being an academician or a student, whatsoever, but the alcohol-seeking behavior, drug-seeking behavior becomes the most important thing in our life. When we stop socializing in the environments where alcohol is not served, then we think that we are dependent. Then we start showing signs of withdrawal. When we don't drink the same type of alcohol or we drink smaller amounts of alcohol, then the first sign to see is the tremors and shakes. Our hands start shaking 4 to 6 hours after the last drink. You can have hallucinations 8 to 12 hours after the last drink. We can have alcohol withdrawal fits, popularly called as rum fits, because rum used to be the strongest alcohol in the past. 12 to 24 hours after the last drink. And then if you don't seek help there, someone can go into a state of confusion, utter confusion, and that is called as delirium tremens. So these are the warning signs that we are heading towards damaging our body and brain. Okay? Signs of liver cirrhosis or damage to the liver are poor appetite, nausea and vomiting. Every time we drink, we are vomiting. Bloody vomitus, when there is blood in the vomit, that means liver is compromised. Usually we can feel our liver just under the rib cage. When it is not there, that means it has shrunk. It has shrunk, that means we have caused damage to it. So liver is our detox machine. So any toxin that we will take will have severe adverse effects on our body if liver is failing to function. So these are some of the telltale signs that someone is dependent and they should seek help.
Yes, the next question.
Thank you very much. Just want to appreciate your presentation though. But I'm not too sure if I had any remedies for stress, for one that could be undergoing stress, any steps that could be taken, especially in an environment such as ours. I think we work so hard, so good. We have a very good work culture in my view in this place. Unfortunately, there may be a few incidences where some amongst ourselves are the sources of stress to our very colleagues. And sometimes in a place like this one, I am nowhere near HR, but I suspect that there are a few that may have even left employment out of being stressed by either their supervisors or their subordinates. And since this is not just a one-day event, I will be hoping that by the end of the days that you will be with us, there will also be solutions that will be offered to people that are either the causers or the ones that are suffering the effects of living with stressful people. I can imagine, I think Madam Chumbu asked, some of us could be wondering how we will go. And it can be so real that sometimes at home you are burning, you come to the office, it's also burning. You have nowhere to escape. You go to church, your pastor is also putting you under more fire. So I'm basically looking at what kind of activities or solutions can somebody run to try and relieve stress, especially that it causes things even such as diabetes. I didn't know. I have been trying to avoid Ishima, but even stress can cause the unimaginable. So please help? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So I will answer on a psychological perspective, and then Dr. Paul will come in a pharmacological perspective as well. Quite true. Stress sometimes can be very inevitable looking at where your environmental factors are. When we are dealing with stress on an individual angle, first of all, we have to identify. We always go back to the basics. Let's identify what is this stressor, number one. After we identify what the stressor is, what is this stressor doing to you? And I love the practical examples you have given, sir. At home, I might be having a stressor. At work, my superior might be giving me a stressor. And even at church, where I expect to be taken care of, to be tended to, I'm also getting the stress. So if my environmental factors are the causative of this stress and I cannot run away from them, how am I going to cope? So in between work, we come back and we look at how many hours are you working in a day. So I'm assuming you come here at 8 to about 5 p.m., isn't it? In between 8 to 5 p.m., what can we do so that we can mitigate stress from your superior, who maybe might not have the understanding that this is affecting you more than maybe he thinks or she thinks, but maybe they are aware, but it is beyond what their feeling is towards you. So in between, we shall have things like breathing technique. Sometimes it sounds funny when I tell my patients, you know what? In between your office hours, just get out. Within an hour, take time, go for a walk somewhere within the building, take deep breaths. Just sit somewhere, even if it's in the toilet, for 5 minutes, sit and breathe. Many people don't even know how to breathe, because half the time you're panicking because of the stressor that is around you. I will always encourage you, look for a space within your environment. So like right now, I would say, consider the toilet if possible. Sit inside there for those 5 minutes. Take a deep breath. So each time I tell people to breathe in and out, first of all, it starts as people laughing about it. But when you do it properly, correctly, it will help you do what? Calm down. So now we are looking for simple ways of helping you manage during the day. The breathing technique is one of them. Relaxation is another one. I will tell you again, take practical breaks during the day. If it's at 10 hours, 10 minutes, run away somewhere again. Sit somewhere and relax. If you have earphones, put the earphones on, put a mindful music. The whole idea of a mindful music is to do what again? Is to calm yourself down. There are moments you can't run away from it. There are moments you can't even get, sorry, we're being told to hurry up, yes. So there are moments again you can't run away from it, but you have to find ways of managing. So that is in that kind of stress where you need to do what? Manage yourself, manage your time. It gets to a point where you have to respectfully address your superior through your HR. Because I believe in any setup, your HR is supposed to protect you. Your HR is supposed to cover you. So sometimes when it's too hard, you have to find a way of coming to HR, and HR has to find a way of settling it out. We have had situations where HR has come through and has done the same. And I believe your HR will do the same. That is what I choose to believe. So these are just some of the ways we would go on the mindfulness, relaxation, breathing technique, and apart from that is the negative thinking now. What is this stressor causing you to think? Because there are people who, because of stress, we have seen them jumping from buildings because it was too much. But where did it start from? Where was their thought process at that particular point? So again, during the therapy sessions, which don't just end at that particular point, we're going to have about 10 sessions. And in these sessions, we are working through your cognitive, we're challenging these negative thoughts to help you. So I'll allow Dr. Paul now to come in on the pharmacological part.
So there is no one size fits all. That's why we are here through the week to be with you. We can have individualized sessions. We can hear your stresses out and provide you practical solutions. Be it with medications, be it with therapy, be it with lifestyle changes. If you are stressed, that doesn't mean you drink 4 mugs of coffee on that particular day, because you have to finish an assignment. Okay? Going back to your sports, if you love to play golf, it's very important. Many times I shout at Betty, why are you late to report at Silver Lining? And she says that she was playing her golf. And I respect her for that, because if she has come with a relaxed mind, she will do justice to her job. So, yeah, each one of you will have your original problems, and we can provide you practical solutions to that once we see each other one-on-one. Thank you.
So this will be the last question that we're taking for the day.
Thank you very much.
Recently I came across an interesting debate by some colleagues. They were saying that mental health cases are on the rise. And this is backed, I think, by some recent statistics that showed that at the Chainama Hospital, in the first quarter, they've had more than 10,000 mental health cases just in the first 4 months. Now, the debate by one of my colleagues was that, and by the way, mostly the patients are youths. Okay? Now, they were saying that this could be because nowadays the mental resilience is very low among our youths compared to in the past. Because, for example, there used to be corporal punishment in schools. If you do something, your teachers whip you. But these days, if your teachers whip you, when you go home, your parents will ask, who did this? In the past, they would ask, what did you do? So now, how do we balance between, trying to help the youths, this particular case, to grow, to strengthen their mental resilience amidst issues of human rights? How do you balance? Thank you.
Quite challenging it is, and considering these human rights that we have, that you cannot just correct a child even if you are seeing them doing something that is very, very wrong. In answering your question, I think again it's going back to the grassroots. Like, where have we lost it in our parenting? There's this aspect where I think we are more of a copycat, so to say, because whatever it is that we are seeing out there, we are also trying to implement in our African setting or Zambian setting. But if you look at how that is detrimental to our youths, the children of nowadays, you find that it is not befitting them. So coming back, what parenting styles are we using in raising these children in our homes? How much freedom are we giving them? And at what point are you correcting your child? And in you correcting your child, how are you doing it? There are better ways of still teaching these children to be resilient. It's about correcting them the right way and teaching them and exposing them to things that are going to help them. We baby them so much. We're like, oh no, this is still a child. We have a lot of maids in our homes, nannies to help them there and there. But what are you teaching them? Are you giving them chores also to do? Because that is a learning experience. If, for example, a child does something wrong, are you able to call them and talk to those children so that they are corrected? We fear again so much because of this aspect where a child is going to stand and challenge you as a parent. And sometimes you feel, okay, let me just avoid that. Because I'm so stressed, I can't deal with this. We've heard a lot of parents who say, I bring this child to you for counseling because I think I don't have the time to talk to this child. I'm busy as well, so where will I find the time? But remember, it is every parent's obligation to talk to a child. Spend time with a child. There's this thing that some parents are doing now where they're having one-on-one dates with their children. What does that do? Get to understand where the child is. Get to connect with your own children. Tell your children the truth. That way we are helping them. But also, are we going to allow other parents to help us parent our children? That is how it was in the past and it was working. So like, if at all we can go back again to trusting each other and just helping these children, because the children are in our communities. So where are we failing as a community? So to answer the part of resilience, I think it's going back again to what we are doing wrong in terms of parenting as parents. Thank you.
Thank you. This topic is very interesting and very sensitive, but due to time, we'll have to call it a day. Silver Lining Healthcare are here throughout the week, so we are encouraged to visit them and feel free to speak so that we can get the help that we need. So if you had any questions, even as we leave, we are still free to approach them and talk to them. But for now, we have come to the end of our program. Shall we please give them a hand?
Good afternoon, and thank you for bringing us on Parliament Television, and there you have it,
So,
the launch of the
Madam
Mental Health
Deputy Clerk
Awareness
Corporate
Outreach
Affairs, you may
here at the
lead the
National
staff
Assembly of
to the
Zambia in
office. Thank you.
partnership with Silver Lining Healthcare has been done, and this was under the theme 10 Awareness into Action. We had a number of speeches that were delivered. We had a speech from the Deputy Clerk, Corporate Affairs, Mrs. Cecilia Sikatele Mambwe, and in her speech she did highlight the importance of mental health awareness. She did emphasize the need to prioritize mental health and reduce stigma around mental health issues. She also further went on to state that the partnership between Silver Lining Healthcare and the National Assembly highlights the commitment to promoting mental health awareness and support. Mrs. Mambwe also stated that the free counseling services and mental health screenings that Silver Lining will be providing will offer good services for the members of staff here at the National Assembly. She also stated that it is important to address issues that stress around mental health, to address the health issues that continue to be on the rise in the country. We also had a speech earlier that was presented by the Director Human Resource here at the National Assembly, that is Mr. Ronald Sambo. In his speech, he did acknowledge the expertise of Dr. Paul Ravi from Silver Lining Healthcare, and Mr. Sambo also highlighted the importance of mental wellness and emphasized the need for sustained action. And lastly, we did have Dr. Paul Ravi from Silver Lining Healthcare, who gave some examples from India and the UK in which he highlighted how celebrities openly discuss their mental health struggles and how that has helped reduce stigma and promote understanding. Dr. Ravi went on to give a presentation on how to manage mental health, and that concluded today's launch of the Mental Health Awareness Outreach. And so, from me, Tazapiri, and on behalf of the entire production crew here at Parliament, we wish you a pleasant day.